Okay.
Bring it to me. We going
Let's
live.
see what the Facebooks say. I'm going to the Facebooks and
could it happen right? It happened right then.
Right now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to.
We all just came together. Gonna be that kind of show. Welcome to 2025, folks.
Are we allowed to say it? Ladies and gentlemen,
ain't nobody stopping us.
Welcome to the Red and Blue
YouTube
Soccer
can
Chat.
demonetize us, I suppose. Take us down. But.
We are your hosts, Evan and Aaron. Evan, me. Why am I speaking in third person? Representing.
Because rest in peace, Ricky Henderson.
Yeah, representing the Blues of Chelsea. Aaron representing the Red Devils of Manchester United. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us. It is a jovial night. Jovial night tonight here at Chatham Tap Fishers. Your homeboys may have pre-gamed a little bit. Just a tad bit. The drunk crowd has finally joined us. Yes. Oh my gosh, man.
Well, Evan, welcome to 2025.
I just there's certain things that I'm like, you know what? I can't believe. And one of them is the fact that
we made it.
We made it. Another one is the fact that, all of our showers are operating quite well and not going drip, drip, drip. Yeah, did you not see this press conference with our?
I'm done.
Anyway,
I'm
but
done.
the third thing is
I am thinking of moving to Greenland.
Okay,
though.
well, and the third thing is I get to sit next to my best friend here, and we get to crack jokes all night and talk about footy football. So, guys, thank you for joining us, Aaron.
I think we're gonna hit him up.
Wow, and there it is. Good for the pod.
Ryan won't listen to this, but we did bring you into it.
Yes,
we did bring you into it.
Yes, we did. How you doing, my friend? How you doing?
You know what? 2025 has kicked off all right. Had a nice, cozy evening in with the lovely lady, eating lots of good locally sourced, well, not locally sourced, fantastic local seafood location in Broad Ripple Seafood. Used to be, I think, called Bardale's, but it's Broad Ripple Seafood right across from Renee's, which has also reopened. Support local folks since they kind of had their issue.
Do that thing.
We've been trying to go back to Renee's and get some stuff as we go to Broad Ripple Seafood, and they are closing down at 2 in the afternoon because they've sold out of everything. So everybody's really supporting them. The seafood place is just, I'm sorry, I get nothing for this. I've been going back just because they have amazing stuff. I've been doing the crab cakes and the scallops. So that's, we did a nice little cozy night in, saw in the new year. And, so far so good aside from the obvious.
Well, hey, and same thing. I mean, me and Mrs. Blue have been just settling in for that winter break, and it's been wonderful. It's been just really, really relaxing. It's been good.
Mrs. Blue.
Did I say Miss?
Mrs. Blue.
Mrs. Blue.
That was nice of her.
I'm just saying, whatever. Oh, my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, shall we just dive right into the quagmire that is?
We are going to, and let's, look, here's the deal. Here's the deal.
We're going
Here's
there
the deal.
first. I know, yes. Oh, okay, this is perfect. This is perfect because you, literally, since we started podcasting, you have always said to be a fan is to back your team through thick and thin.
Yeah.
And we have, you know what? We've seen thick, THICC, for the first half of December, and it was nice.
Raheem's.
It was nice. It was nice. And now we are seeing thin.
Okay. Let's keep it in perspective.
Exactly. And
okay.
I've got thoughts, but I'm going to let you talk first.
You were on an incredible run.
Look me in the eyes.
As I wrote a few weeks ago, December couldn't have been going any better.
Right.
You'd come through November pretty well, building some steam. December was really rolling.
Oh my God.
Absolutely rolling. Not just good results, good performances.
Yep.
you could see some really positive stuff going on, and it's at this exact moment while you're looking at your phone that I remembered I have an extra screen that I can begin bringing.
Oh, yes.
And totally forgot to do because
But that's okay. But that's okay because
Anyway,
you're right.
anyway.
You're right. 3-0 Aston Villa, 5-1 Southampton, 4-3 Tottenham, and we were rolling.
Really, really strong.
FC Astana we beat 3-1.
Yeah.
Brentford 2-1. We were killing it.
Shamrock Rovers, obviously, you should probably play off the park.
Yes.
It's Irish league and in the conference league, so you really should roll them, and you did, right? You did what was expected.
Mm-hmm.
What happened over the next 4 games, I think, demonstrated what happens to a lot of teams that, one, you see it happen to teams that don't have a deep squad.
Sure.
That playing, 9-10 games in a month, or at least over the holiday period, really takes a toll. Really takes a toll. And it's cold weather. I mean, it's brutal conditions at times, as we've seen.
Yes.
But I think in a lot of ways it's not a horrible reflection on where Chelsea is. It's a realistic reflection on the fact that what it takes to be a top 4 team and what it takes to remain there during these. I mean, we're entering a really difficult period of the season. This January, February into March period where there's a lot of club and cup competition overlap. There's a lot of travel. The weather is brutal, and you find out who the guys are that are really up for it. My question to you is,
yes.
One, what's your take on these particular last 4 or 5 games where either had an opportunity to win and kind of coughed up the game, or really weren't at the races and well, I get that. That's unfair.
I mean,
you outplayed Fulham until the last 20 minutes of that game, and then really kind of capitulated.
Ipswich
Well, that is what it is. Sometimes you just have a bad day.
You just have a bad day.
But I think the games where you had a lead and coughed up that lead show that there's still a little bit of that mountain to climb.
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel about that run of games, and how do you feel about the ability to recover and keep yourselves in the top 4 hunt?
I'm glad you asked that question because that's exactly where I wanted to go with this today. I think that, I know, a drunk crowd, thank you so much for your support. I think there's one major thing to keep in mind here, and you mentioned it, is that a young team is starting to play a lot of games at once. And I think this is what Enzo Maresca was saying at the very beginning. We're not ready to challenge for an EPL title.
Right.
The reason is why we're seeing what we see. Is because when you challenge for a title, that means probably you're in at least one cup race, if not 2.
Yes.
And the wear and tear on guys, the constant grind that it takes to do things, even with Chelsea's 2 squads, if you want to call it that, even with the 2 squads, the amount of games that are being played, you're starting to see guys being used in EPL, but they haven't been worked into EPL yet. They've been, it's just been, and I've read a lot of stuff online where people are like, what the hell's Maresca doing? Well, he's doing what he has to do in order to keep his guys somewhat healthy. And this is why I think he was saying that, hey, we're not ready yet. It's not that we're not deep. We've got a great squad. It's just that we haven't had the reps for the young guys yet. The young guys have not experienced what it is to play in an FA Cup, what it is to play in a Champions League, what it is, it's stuff like that. They haven't experienced that all at once.
Yeah.
And now that we see it, I would give Chelsea a grade of C. I'd give them an average grade in the fact that this is something that even myself in all of the, revelry that we were in the first part of December, like, yes, we neglected to see this coming. I am not panicking at this point.
No, you shouldn't.
I'm not panicking
I don't
at this
think
point.
You should, no.
Because here's why. I'm not panicking because those guys in the locker room, you know this, they want to win as much as we want them to win.
Yes.
And I think that eventually once we get past this, like we've got, December obviously is behind us, but we've got 4 matches left in January. That's so much better than the 9 matches that we played in December.
Yeah.
And so we will have a little bit of a build-up here. In March, we just have 2 matches. 2. And so we'll have another build-up as we get to April because we have 5 matches in April. But what I'm saying is that you're absolutely right. The grind that these guys are going through, the pressure that they're feeling to perform as well as they did, it gets to young people. It gets to young guys. And that's okay because that creates metal.
It's the learning process.
It creates metal inside of them, and they are able to galvanize that and say, okay, look, we've been here, we've done that before. And so, once again, I will liken it to, and I really do mean this, the last full year that Ten Hag had, you started to see Manchester United pull this shit together. Mm-hmm. You started to see them come together, and by the end of the season, they were in multiple cup plays, right? And so, this is what has to happen to Chelsea. Guys, listen. This is what has to happen to Chelsea. We have to go through this. It is necessary for our guys to be able to build themselves up into the type of player that can handle 3, different races at the same time. Just right now, what we're seeing is we're seeing tired legs. Oh, shit. What are we doing? What are you laughing at?
I got about 5 jokes going on in my head right now.
What did I do? What did I say? Did I say a lot of interesting things?
Okay. It's all good.
Okay.
It's all good.
It's all good. But that's what I have to say.
No,
about
I agree with you. There's a line. This is going to seem like a strange analogy, but follow me. There's in my opinion, a really good, fun movie called 3 Kings. George Clooney,
okay.
Ice Cube, and Mark Wahlberg,
yep.
Spike Jonze.
Yep.
And they're about to go in to a big battle, and George Clooney can tell that Spike Jonze' character's kind of scared, like they haven't really done this. And he goes, the thing is, you do the thing that you're scared shitless of, then you get courage. Then you're not afraid of it.
Yeah.
And you just hit it on the head.
Yeah.
You kind of have to be a young guy and go into these, and there's 2 types of young guys. There's the super young guys that don't know they're supposed to be afraid, right? When you see a Garnacho, or when you see a Lamine Yamal, or you see a Arda.
That is perfect. Yes.
You see some of these guys and they're like, I'm 17. I don't know what the fuck I'm even doing here. I just happen to be good at this, so I'm just going to go out and do what I do. But then you hit like 2021, and if you haven't gotten to those games yet, now you're like, well, oh shit, I feel the weight. I've been playing a couple seasons. Now we're finally here.
Yes.
Now I'm actually feeling the weight of this, and you've got to go through it. And maybe you're playing with a team and you've got some veterans that can help drag you through it. But both of our clubs don't have that right now.
No, and you think about our club right now. Once again, guys, here's the thing. Whenever you talk about your team online, you've got to think about the big picture. I actually saw some, kind of like, meh, whatever, about Cole Palmer. And the thing was, it's Cole Palmer. Well, he was at City before. Well, why the hell is it? He didn't play. Like, the guy wasn't featured at City, so he didn't get the full experience of doing this. And by the way, I'm just going to say it. I think this is why we're seeing City bounce back, because these guys are like, okay, you know what? We've been here before.
We've been there. Oh, yeah. They know how to recover.
We know how to recover. Mm-hmm. I think that's what's separating City from teams like Chelsea. And the fact that Chelsea doesn't know, they don't necessarily know yet how to recover as quickly.
Well, and I think this speaks to almost a larger, I won't say issue, that's passing a judgment on it, but I think a larger reality is that there's so much movement from club to club.
Yeah.
Even amongst super top level players, still moving from these big clubs to big clubs, and there's you don't have the consistency. And I'll go back to what I know, and that is what made Manchester United great was even when Fergie went and had to rebuild, he understood, I got to keep these 4 or 5 guys at this club and continue putting them out there because they're important. And I've said this last time, and I truly believe this. If Zlatan does not get hurt and does not leave the club, we don't go through the next rebuild because there's him and Wayne Rooney in the locker room telling guys you can't do this. But he left, and it was Wayne Rooney on his own trying to explain to Lingard and Pogba and these guys how to be professionals. And I just don't. I don't think he came across in the same way.
Right.
All right, we're gonna have a quick little and say big shout out. Yeah, sorry.
Shout out.
Big shout out to Chatham Tap. Oh, we're gonna wait for the king himself.
David.
Come on, David. Yes. Yay. All right, big shout out and thanks to Chatham Tap as ever. And as you can see by the crawl, they will be open at 9:30
on Sunday, 10 o'clock on Saturday,
and 10 o'clock on Saturday. Yep. Glad we did that backwards. And there will be breakfast on Sunday. So come on in.
Bring donuts
on Saturday
or kolaches.
Kolaches are nice.
They are nice.
They really are nice.
My
so,
friend.
Cheers.
Slanty.
And so much appreciation to you guys. Love you. And tip well.
May I follow up with that, please?
Yes.
Dang it. I knew it. As soon as I said it, I knew I was going to forget what I was going to Let's move on. Dude, it's one of those nights. I'm just saying. Yeah, I know. No. Yes.
I should remember. I just have mute buttons.
Yeah. You got mute buttons. So yeah, let's.
Okay,
move on.
so
I'm trying to remember.
Back to where we were. I guess the main thing is, how do you see? Because Chelsea only played bad in the Ipswich match.
Yeah.
Chelsea just didn't play 90 minutes in the other matches. Right? The Fulham match, you really outplayed them for most of the game. But Fulham just don't quit.
They don't quit.
They really don't quit. And they said, no, not today. We're going to do this. Crystal Palace, I think you guys just took your foot off the gas and kind of let him back in.
Can
but
we
again,
talk about Fulham real quick? Anthony Robinson?
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
I'm just so happy. And I know that's I know I went out of order here.
No. That's totally fine.
Playing, dude.
He's been voted in the Premier League team of the season. 2 years in a row now?
Yeah.
He's got Player of the Month. No, there's no reason to not give props to what he is doing, and you've seen him now getting deployed in almost like a Trent Alexander-Arnold role where he's allowed to float inside. Diogo Dalot was doing this a bit for Ten Hag, not quite so much now because of how the formation is. But you're seeing them given this license to sort of drift infield, be more of a playmaker, kind of the inverse of Gareth Bale started out as an out-and-out left back at Tottenham and then just kind of continued moving, the attacking left back becomes a thing. He had that great game against Inter Milan. And then fast forward, half a decade, and here's this guy being one of the greatest, out-and-out attackers in the game at Real Madrid. But we're kind of seeing this, and it would be, I guess to jump ahead, Pulisic is now playing. At an incredible level, but we saw it over the weekend.
Yeah.
AC Milan and Juventus, two tremendous teams, or I guess, was that Friday?
Yeah. Maybe,
I don't know. But Pooley played great. You have to say Weston played pretty well. They just Juve got beat. But Eunice and Timothy, I don't think Timothy got much time, if at all, in the game.
Though.
But
they're getting the reps.
These guys are playing at a high level.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but your question about Chelsea was?
Yes, sorry.
No,
let's get back to your tweet.
What was your question again?
I guess I would say
because you were going through the fact that you were talking about Ipswich.
I would say, how does Chelsea They weren't. I get it now.
Yep.
They weren't playing bad. The Ipswich result, whatever.
Yes.
But they seem to not be able to play that full 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
What needs to happen? Who needs to step up, and where do they need to step up in order to keep this from happening?
That's a good question. I think two things. Number one, drunk crowd thinks it is too. Number one, I think that we need to get back to
My favorite is that they're called the battle crowd.
the battle crowd. There you go. Number one,
because the letter Kenny.
Hey. Fuck you, Riley. Fuck you, Jonesy. Anyway.
Where'd you get that onesie to come in men's?
Right.
I bet you like to come in men's.
Hey, she's a sniper. Anyway, no, I think there are two things. Number one, I think that Chelsea needs to get back to get back to basics. We need to talk about fitness. We need to start talking about fitness and the fact that, you know what, we've played so many games. We've got to get these guys back into form. And the way you get back into form, practice, practice, practice. You know, and I get it. I love me, you know, the whole thing, but it is about practice.
Practice?
Yeah, I know.
We talking about practice?
We're talking about practice. Yes, we
Practice.
are. Yes.
We talking about practice.
Yes, we are, because if
Practice.
you're able to consistently get out on the pitch and perform for the time that your manager is asking you to perform. Look at what Nicholas Jackson does. Nicholas Jackson creates beautiful chaos for 70 to 75 minutes. At the 75-minute spot, if that chaos isn't working, it's time to pull him.
Mm-hmm.
And that is his routine. And I think that if we can get the other guys to the point to where they can perform in the amount of time that Maresca needs them to perform, great. And once again, this is a result of these, and I'm saying massive, because people will laugh and be like, massive, you only have one cup. It's okay. These are young guys. There are a massive amount of games to play in harsh conditions. When we are able to get guys conditioned and fit to be able to endure the rigor of the season, that's going to make a difference. But I think number two is what we're seeing Enzo Maresca really, like I said before, we're seeing him try to put guys together who aren't as fatigued, who aren't as used up as other guys. And he's like, what do I do, guys?
Along those lines, how do I ask this question without it coming across as kind of loaded?
Go loaded.
Okay, are Nkunku and Joao Felix flops as transfers? I mean, let's face it. You spent a lot of money on both of them, and they don't start.
We did.
And Sancho is a side question to that. I don't think you had any expectation that he was going to come in and be a superstar again. I
will say,
and I think Jadon has Contributed more than Nkunku.
Absolutely.
And Joao have.
Joao,
so
yes.
Have we made bad decisions here?
I think we're at a point to where we need to take a look and see what they contribute to the club. And it's easy to put Sancho aside, because that guy, in my opinion, if we do not have Jadon Sancho, we're middle of the table at best. And I'm putting that much on him because the guy is formidable. He's formidable. And I think when Sancho gets on the field, he's even said it in interviews. Blues fans, look, I know I'm going over and I'm about ready to stop, but Blues fans, if you can look and listen to the interviews that Sancho has done, he loves being at Chelsea. He's embraced Chelsea. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not saying that he didn't at Man U, but he's really embraced
He never
Chelsea.
settled. He never settled.
He never settled. But he's embraced Chelsea, and that's the type of thing. When you look at Nkunku and you look at Joao Felix, this is his second time at the club. And it's like, I don't know. Nkunku has a spot in the club. I'm more positive about Nkunku than I am about Joao Felix.
I would think so, too. I think ultimately he can deliver the main – For me, they have two different flaws.
Yes.
Joao Felix is just an inconsistent football player.
Yes, absolutely.
And he got found out at multiple clubs. He got found out at Barcelona. He got found out at Athletic. He just cannot produce on a consistent basis. I level that accusation at Jaden, but Jaden doesn't carry the same price tag, or at least he doesn't for you.
Not yet.
Right?
Not yet.
So his inconsistencies, we can push that to the side. Nkunku's problem is he can't stay healthy.
Yes.
And while they're different problems, at the end of the day, when you're running a business, it's the same problem. I love Luke Shaw. I fucking love Luke Shaw. I love Terrell Malacia.
Yes.
But these are two dudes who have demonstrated that the pace and the rigor of this game at the Premier League level is probably too much for them. And I put an asterisk around Luke Shaw because this dude suffered an incredible injury. The fact that he came back, but
he's the man.
I mean, come on. I'm an advocate for everybody going to Wrexham.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, the perfect segue into picture them rolling. I was coming in. No. Let's fucking just let's do this. Yeah. Because Manchester is red. It's red. It's red.
It is, but I mean,
all right. So
I'm gonna say that for as ecstatic as I was that we pulled out the victory against Man City, the performance that we gave against Liverpool is the best that Man U have played all season long, and it is awesome, but infinitely frustrating to watch this club rise to the occasion against Manchester City.
Oh my God.
And probably against odds. I mean, if that game would have ended in a draw, nobody would have been too crazy about it. Right. They didn't outplay us, but we didn't outplay them. It was pretty even, but it was good team performance. Yeah. And then we followed that up with some trash. And that trash is what Amarim warned us about. There's going to be a harsh learning curve here. Yes. We're not playing in any way the way that we've played recently, and there are still the other issues going on at the club that we've been dealing with.
Absolutely.
But then to show up at Anfield, where you got humiliated 7-1 last year. I know most United fans were like,
"No,
fuck.
You remember?
Are we gonna lose by 10? Are we gonna get 10-run ruled? Are they gonna end the game early because of how bad we're getting beaten?" And Man U didn't just show up. They didn't just get their backs up and play a good game. They didn't just sit there and do what needed to be done. At some point, they were taking that game to Liverpool, and I think most people thought if there's going to be a winner here today, it's going to be Manchester United.
And that leads me into my first question for you. I mean, I know that
phenomenal.
We've got that
phenomenal.
But I watched that match. Harry Maguire.
Oh, he's reborn in the back three. He's reborn in the back three.
I don't even fault him for missing the. It happens, right?
You'd love to have seen it.
You'd love to have seen it,
but
the man is reborn.
Yeah, he belongs in a back three. It's what suits him. He's terrific when he can see the game open up in front of him, and when he has the opportunity to play the passes between the lines, he's tremendous. I think De Ligt is the one that's actually struggling to adapt to being to the right side in a back three, and I think he's just played in so many systems over the last few years that he's just like, where am I? Lisandro Martinez, I thought when he got handed the captain's armband for a game or two there,
it was interesting.
It really
was
well.
Interesting.
It got to him, and he did not play well. But I think he settled down, and obviously, I mean, to weigh in with a goal. And I got to be honest, if that did not, I mean, look, he didn't pick up the ball in midfield and beat five guys and all that. But
so much pressure.
If your first thought when Lisandro Martinez hit that high left footer over the top of a goalie that kind of did his ballerina wave at
Right.
it. If your first thought wasn't Ryan Giggs 99, you ain't a fan.
Oh man,
I'm sorry, but that is it's such beauty and such a parallel to what needs to happen for this club, that this could be such a breakthrough.
Yes.
I really felt like we should have won the match.
Yes.
I thought we did outplay them ultimately.
No, I'm telling you,
maybe
you
just
did.
a skosh.
You did.
But we took the best team in England, no question, and potentially the best. I mean, you look where they are in the Champions League right now.
I'm telling you.
Possibly the best team
telling you.
in Europe right now, and by extension, that'd be the world. Sorry. But we played them.
Yeah.
We played them straight up, and Lissandro had the perfect response to, how is it you can do this? You can play against City, you can play against Liverpool like this, and then turn around and play against Bournemouth.
So
and get
you
put off the
led
park
me
in
into my second
Newcastle,
question for you.
and he just did this.
Yes.
Just did this, because this is where it is.
Yes.
The game is here, people. At this level, so many of these guys can play it. They'll all tell you they can play it.
Sure.
What made Kobe better? What made Jordan better? What makes LeBron
I mean,
somewhat better?
We know he's not
It's
the GOAT, but
up
the guy's
here.
good.
It is up here. It's
Yes.
It's the ability to lock in and say, this is what's going to happen right now. And what made the great teams from Manchester United from the mid 90s to the mid 2000s so good was that they brought that mentality not just to play in Arsenal as the marquee match on a Sunday, but to Norwich on a Tuesday night. And yeah, every once in a while it was a failure, but that's where you win, man. It's these moments now. It's these dark, cold ass days in January and February where you got to go play Southampton, you got to go play Ipswich, you got to go play these teams that are backs against the wall, digging it out, and also look at you as the team to beat.
So you led me into my second and last question, but you've already kind of answered it. I just want to kind of get a reiteration of it, because I was like, okay, you literally on the 16th of December beat Man City. Now, most people might say, well, Man City, they weren't quite.
Still.
No, I'm like, no, you're at the Etihad. Etihad. And the fact is that over the last 3 games, Man City they found themselves.
Yeah.
They couldn't find themselves against you. And then
we hit them at the right time,
and
for sure.
then you went into January, and your first game in January, you fucking get a point at Anfield.
Mm-hmm.
But then you look at those 3 games, and it's like, are you concerned about the consistency of this team, or is this just like a speed bump to where you're like, oh my God, we are starting to actually play with the big boys and contend here?
No, I
not for a title,
no,
but to contend here.
I would say neither of those.
Okay.
I think what it's indicative of is that Man United are not as bad as people want to make them out to be.
Right.
It's a lot of fun. Oh, they're going to be in a relegation battle and all that stuff. But
that's ridiculous.
This team has plenty of talent. Mm-hmm. The problem is we've all seen this talent either not care, not show up, not gel, however you want to put it.
Yeah.
But the fact that they've been able to elevate themselves shows you they've got it. The question is, do they have the commitment to create the level of consistency that it takes? Because if you want to win leagues, if you want to win trophies, you got to show up and win some shitty-ass games.
Yes.
You've got to show up.
Absolutely.
And just put in some seriously dirty work on a bad pitch when the weather is not on your side, when the referee's not on your side, when things are not going your way, and you still figure out a way to win that.
Yes.
And the teams that we revere, the teams that we talk about 20 years, 30 years, 50 years later, all of those teams possessed that shit.
Yes.
You never look back and go, oh, my God. The Celtics won 13 championships over the course of 15 years because they were lucky.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
No. Was the league different then? Sure it was. But you got to show up every fucking day.
Yeah. Yep.
Ready to give everything it takes. And you watch those Class of 92 documentaries. You watch the documentary on that 2004 Arsenal squad.
Yep.
You watch the behind the scenes on those Chelsea teams.
Yeah.
These guys, they took care of themselves.
Yeah.
You look at all those Class of 92 guys, they don't talk about how many hair dryers they got from Alex Ferguson. They talk about Roy Keane waiting on him at the edge of the pitch.
Yeah.
They talk about Rio Ferdinand chewing their ass out for not recovering.
Yeah.
They talk about how they were responsible for one another.
Mm-hmm.
And both of our clubs have lacked that level
I agree.
of accountability
100%.
and leadership
100%.
for a few years now. You guys are closer to getting it. I feel bad for Reece James because I think if he was on the field,
Oh my God, that
it
would
would
help.
it would,
That
it would be
help.
huge.
It would help.
But that also means when he's not, one, his job is in the locker room at this point.
Yeah.
Two, who's going to step up?
And Enzo is wearing the armband,
Exactly.
but it's like, dude, you
Hey.
got to get these guys. Yeah.
We can talk about when things are down that Bruno's a bit of a bitch. Throws his hands up in the air.
You could.
Does not act like a real leader.
But who would?
But when you look at these games,
Yeah.
this guy, if you don't think Bruno Fernandes is one of the top 5 central midfielders
I
in the
agree.
game
Yes,
right
I
now,
agree.
you're just not paying attention.
You're not paying attention. You
The
don't
man,
know
the man
you don't know
covers
the game.
ground. The man leads from the front. The man can do everything. The one thing I took away from that Bournemouth match, which we got absolutely played off the park, he's so much better than everyone. I mean, he was still trying his ass off, and you're like, guys just aren't getting what he's doing. They just aren't getting what he's doing. When they do, when Højlund is not 2 steps off that ball,
Yes.
when they start recognizing one another's runs, and look, we've been saying it for years. You got to let the process play out.
Yep.
Right now, I support Ruben Amorim.
Yes.
Is it going to be clean and clear for the rest of the season? Hell no.
Nope.
We're going to lose a game, and it's going to piss me off, and I'm going to be very, very angry about it. But we're going to win some big games too.
Yep.
And if between now and then the best we can do is to get ourselves in the top half of the table, but maybe we end up in the Europa League final.
Sure.
Maybe we end up in an FA Cup final.
Absolutely.
Hey, Arsenal fans, show up. We're coming.
There you go.
I ain't afraid.
There you go.
But if these things happen and you build that momentum, then we get in the transfer window in the summer and you say, hey, Ruben, what do you need, man?
Yeah.
And we saw along the way, this is what did work, this is what didn't work. And he says, bring me this.
I cannot. I mean, that is a hell of a breakdown. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to that segment. I mean, I think we need to reiterate some things.
For sure.
Our guys are playing well.
Yeah, really, really playing well. It's almost unfortunate, although I want them to stay with their clubs, and
Sure.
and they're not coming for this. This is an off-cycle, international friendly set of games. So we're going to see predominantly MLS guys and guys who are either not getting as much time for their European and South American or whatever club teams, or who could just use some reps, what have you.
Right.
I mean, we're not going to see Pulisic and McKinney and all these guys get called into camp. And I think that's a good thing. We don't need them right now. We need them to stay with their clubs.
Yes.
But the level of play we're achieving right now with these guys, the question for Pac is, can he figure out how to get these disparate groups to gel?
Yeah, I think the big puzzle, and it is a puzzle, I think the big puzzle for Pac right now is, hey, these guys are playing so well. If I was him, I would start to analyze the people that these guys are surrounded with. Can we replicate? Can we replicate these guys?
What's bringing the best out of Pulisic
Exactly.
and Weston,
Exactly.
and how do we recreate those systems?
Yes, and that's what he needs to focus on. And I think that when he focuses on that, it's going to be. I think we're going to see a new level of USA soccer as far as the men's team is concerned.
I hope. I think we finally. Well, I won't say finally. I think we've had some false dawns here where we've had solid cores of guys.
Yeah.
And For whatever reason, I think you go back to Klinsmann.
I liked me some Klinsmann.
I liked Jurgen Klinsmann. I think the problem was Klinsmann didn't get the caliber and consistency of players.
True.
Thank you.
Dankeschön.
That we're putting out right now. So he was asked. He was trying to set a standard. He was trying to set a level.
Yes.
And I appreciate that. Most of those guys were not going to be able to attain it. If Jurgen Klinsmann had come along 4 to 6 years later, and that group, perhaps. But we've had guys. But I think I do think guys got complacent under Berhalter.
Yes, I do think so too.
Poch is establishing a new level and standard of play that, Pooley is fast approaching being the most successful player we've put forth. And he may already be. He's won a Champions League. He's won a Super Cup.
Yes.
He's got trophies, but his longevity in his career. But Weston, Eunice, Timothy Weah.
These guys are there.
But we're looking at Malik Tillman.
Yeah.
We're looking at Anthony Robinson. We're looking at these guys that are not just contributors. They
Major
are
players.
Standout players.
Yeah.
Captain America is probably the most popular player in Italy right now. They love this guy.
They love the guy.
They absolutely go apeshit for him. And here's a guy who, AC Milan's down 2-0 in the Supercoppa final to Inter, their arch rivals. And he was pretty much involved in all 3 goals for the comeback.
Yeah.
Just beautiful to see.
Yeah.
And, it's hard not to be excited. And with what Poch is saying and doing, hey, we got a year and a half. We do. We have a year and a half, man.
We do.
Less than 18 months. And we're going to be going to World Cup games, watching our boys.
Yeah.
Take these people on and say, not on our soil.
Right, exactly. And I think that's the thing.
And between now and then, Mexico and Canada might all be our soil.
Oh, man. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we've now gotten to the Hey Aaron part of our show.
This motherfucker.
Oh, my gosh. The Hey Aaron part of our show goes like this. For those of you who are new to our podcast, maybe all 2 or 3 of you. I'm just saying.
All tens of our listeners are just going to love this.
This is where we throw out some random thing for Aaron to pontificate upon.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I know. And this is good. Oh, no, what happened?
People are killing me.
Oh, no. Oh.
Evan, how's your stream health?
Well, it was pretty good as far as the doctor was concerned. But,
right.
I'm just saying.
Using the whole fist there, Doc?
The Hey Aaron segment is actually a cry for help. I couldn't think of anything else other than, dude, if you were the manager of Chelsea FC,
okay,
and in the other scenario, if you were manager of Manchester United, what would you say to these squads to get them to settle down and just to play their brand of football? What would you say to them?
Oh, wow.
And you can start wherever you want. Man U may be easier.
No. I think for Chelsea, I'm going to say this, and this might seem like a cop-out, but at this point, I don't think either team really needs to make many changes. I think
personnel-wise.
No,
okay.
I look. We're in the transfer window, and if you want to talk about guys that you could bring in that would be beneficial, sure, that's fucking great. Hola,
Gustavo, ¿cómo está mi amigo?
But I'm just talking about the guys that you got in front of you in your locker room.
Yeah.
Right. For Chelsea, I would say, look, guys, rest as well as you can over the weekend. Spend time with family. Don't think about football.
Nice.
Turn your brain off.
Okay.
They look over fatigued to
Yes.
me. They look like they've been giving so much.
Yeah.
that they need a breather. And this is where England is so much different than the other leagues, right? Everybody takes a little bit of time off, where England's like, fuck it, we're going to play over the holidays. And it's like, well, that's great. And that's why come, March and April, our guys
look like
kind of really start to struggle.
Yeah.
I don't think I would change a whole lot. From a coaching perspective, I think he probably does need to rotate a little bit more. I think he needs to bring in, Jaden and Joao. As much as we've kind of criticized him a little bit here, I think he needs to incorporate them a little bit more, so the legs and the minutes on the other guys aren't so much.
Yeah.
And it also might give both of them an opportunity to be like, hey, wait a second, we were both supposed to be considered these, really high-level players. Let's get our form back.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe develop some relationships here. I think Jaden and Joao, left side, middle, and they can both kind of interchange. That'd be a good thing. Enzo Fernandez obviously has the ability to kind of move.
Enzo is
we're
kind of settling.
So I think really it's more of a just get yourself rested and get yourself ready to go again for the next thing, because at the end of the day, the way they'd been playing was fine. And your top four, just you're seeking that high level of consistency.
Yes.
For Manchester United, I think it's just a matter of drill and drill and drill and drill and drill.
Okay.
They're learning a new system. He's asking a lot.
He is asking a lot of
He's
them.
asking a lot of guys. He's asking them to get into physical condition and position that is it's rigorous but different than what Ten Hag was wanting.
Very much.
The way he's asking them to play I think he's asking them to play on the edge of dangerous. And when things aren't going your way, it's hard to be like, I feel like I can take a chance.
Yeah.
But if you look back to that Liverpool match, the number of times, especially early on in that match, defenders stepped up from deep positions and won big tackles. And kept the ball moving forward for United.
They were aggressive.
Rather than sitting off, letting them have that space, and then saying, we're going to defend you from here. They didn't do that. They said, we're attacking that ball. And here's the thing. That's great when you win it.
Mm-hmm.
You lose that ball. Not only did you lose the ball, but you're out of position. You've now left your person behind you uncovered. Two, if your tackle's reckless, you start amassing cards. So he's asking them to play on the edge of real danger. But look what happens.
Yes, exactly. They've responded.
And you, all of our clubs, sorry, Arsenal fans, our clubs have won Champions Leagues. And you have to play on the very edge of losing it all in order to lift that trophy.
Yes, you do.
And if he can instill that, and something I like, apparently Rooney, after he's not done well as a head coach, supposed to be coming to United as an assistant coach.
Oh wow, okay. He and Frank faced off recently.
Just his presence.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And him saying, "I got trophies.
Yes.
This is what you got to do to win them.
Yes.
This is how you win them." I may not be the one coming up with the tactics, but I'm going to tell you, your effort's not good enough today.
Wow.
And by the way, my chunky fat ass with a beard is going to come out here in practice and show you what it takes. I'm still better than you guys if you aren't going to put forth the effort.
There you go.
And I think that's really what's needed, is for them to, man, if this team could get to a Europa League final. I think that would be even, I would love the FA Cup, don't get me wrong. But I think the Europa League is such a grueling competition. You play so many more games.
Yes.
You travel all around. You go to these. This isn't like, every weekend we're in we're in Monaco or something like that. It's like, we went to Azerbaijan this weekend.
Well, I was going to say we went to Kazakhstan.
and then we had to come back 2 days later and play fucking Norwich or some shit like that. I think if they can get through that, even if it's just to get to the final, it's going to lift these guys up. And I think that's what's needed most.
Man, that is the Hey Aaron segment.
Oh, we got
done.
7 minutes
Well
to
done.
make the
All
gram.
7 minutes to make the gram. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. We are at our final segment of the show, which is the Aaron's Final Thoughts. Guys, listen, thank you so much for joining us. We love you. We appreciate you. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to my man, Aaron. Aaron, what are your hey, drunk crowd, thank you so much. Appreciate that. What are your final thoughts? What are you leaving us with?
You know, I'm going to say this. We enter 2025 with a lot of question marks, a lot of uncertainty. Really wondering where this world is going. But I'm going to choose, for the time being, to say that this is another fresh start, that this is an opportunity to look ahead with positivity, not with blinders on, not with false hopes and false beliefs, but with clear eyes, looking at the reality of what's facing us and saying, it is in my intent to do good, be good, to love one another, and be as positive as the reality of the situation can allow me to be. And that's what I want for you, and that's what I want for all of you out there. It's a bleak world sometimes, but you know what? If you don't allow yourself some grace and allow yourself the room to think things can get better, things can be positive, we can win. And it can be little things, you know? Hey, I haven't gotten out and exercised. I jogged the block today. That's a win. Little wins. Set yourselves little goals. I'm not going to try to be Susan Powder here and be like your self-help coach, right? But
wow, Susan Powder.
These things are true. Give yourselves room to have your small victories, and those small victories become big victories, and then you're lifting whatever trophy you were in search of in the first place. And if that trophy is, a promotion at work, then you've worked toward it. If that is making your relationship with your wife or husband or whoever better, then that's a trophy. So that's what I want for me. That's what I'm going to strive for. Hold my feet to the fire. And folks, I hope it works for you as well. And if you ever need to talk, we are always here. Online, offline, you can always reach out to us. We truly are there to be your support. This is community. This is what the beautiful game is about. So, love you.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, my gosh. I tell you, I love every single time that we are able to hear Aaron's final thoughts. Guys, listen, thank you so much for joining us tonight. This was the Red and the Blue Soccer Chat, brought to you by the Evan and Aaron Show. Guys, hashtag Black People Vote.
Hashtag say gay. Also, say trans.
Hey, why not? Why not? We love you guys. Peace.